Oh my gosh, we're back.
Yeah, finally.
Guys, I just want to again say thank y'all for your patience just because, unfortunately, real life gets in the way of stuff. I have been busy with like dog sitting and stuff like that. I am currently searching for a job. And then I also got sick for like a week. So yeah, I know I have the worst immune system. I need to fix that. But
Sorry about that.
before we begin, I have got to say this. If you cannot handle sexual assault, please do not listen to this episode because unfortunately...
This was a really hard one.
Yes, it was. I felt so uncomfortable watching this. Oh my god.
I noticed my laptop is unplugged, so... We're from Belladonna of Sadness, by the way, and you can go to the basic info while I plug my laptop in real quick.
Okay. So, Belladonna of Sadness was produced by Mushi Production in 1973. Mushi had a varied history being the production house behind Astro Boy, Kimba the White Lion, and Princess Knight. Now, there's a reason for that, because it was ran by the famous manga artist, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, Osamu Tezuka. Considered the god of manga, Osamu has a prolific career spanning decades. He's most recently known for the previously mentioned mangas, as well as various adult titles such as Blackjack and Buddha. Like, you know how like when people think of American animation, they think of Walt Disney. Well, for Japan, for a while, it was Tezuka. He was, Astro Boy was probably one of the first animes ever to be produced. So yeah, it's he's a big deal.
And one of the first to make it to a male guy.
So, following in his footsteps, Mushi produced adult anime content such as 1001 Arabian Nights and Cleopatra, the first X-rated animated film in Japan. And, go ahead.
And I believe some of these films got a release in America as well to capitalize on the popularity of Fritz the Cat.
Yes, I do think you were right. So, this was not directed by Osamu, this was directed by Ichi Yamamoto, who also worked on Astro Boy, Kimba, Cleopatra, and Arabian Nights. He later worked on Space Battleship Yamato, an iconic animated series that would later be influential in sci-fi anime. Now, Belladonna was inspired by, hope I say this right, La Sorcellerie by Jules Michelet, a French historian from the 1860s.
Are you here to judge us for our pronunciation of foreign names, buddy? Is that what that meow's about?
Yeah, again, we're both Americans. I don't know any French, so please forgive me. So the film
I even butcher the English language sometimes.
The film took 6 years to make.
Holy shit.
Yes, but unfortunately it performed really badly, and it caused Mushi to file for bankruptcy. Now, it gained film cult status due to the trippy visuals, the violent scenes, and the themes of misogyny, feudal oppression, moral depravity, rebellion, and witch hunting. Now, the film has, received sort of, I'm going to say kind of mixed reviews, because a lot of people are this is a very beautiful film, but the stories and characters are, its weakest strong suit, and also just, it's one of those films where I think... At the time, people thought it was super progressive, but this has
a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh my god!
This is one of those things where you are watching it solely for the artistic merits, because most people agreed that okay, I'm just gonna say this. This is a very misogynistic film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's. Yeah, you're about to see why in a bit.
So here's the thing. Neither of us have read the French story it is based off of. So, it's probably also a thing where it's we need to blame the source material a bit. However, I feel... So, okay, when it comes to serious subjects like rape, sexual assault, murder, and violence and all that, you have to deal with it in a certain type of way,
Yeah, these are really dark subject matters, and you gotta handle them delicately.
And
yeah, they handled it very graphically.
Yeah, just... Okay, I guess we're gonna have to try to explain the story. Okay, so... See, the reason, originally when I saw this was on the list, I asked Jed, are you sure you are okay with reviewing this? Because I straight up told him it starts with a sexual assault. Literally in the first, scene. And, maybe I think, the first 2 minutes?
It starts with these newlyweds, Jean and John, in a rural village in medieval France. And they are recently read. They have a bunch of still watercolor paints and to show their marriage, but the king and queen of Japan,
France.
France.
It's supposed to be France.
And they expect tribute from the newlyweds. Only problem is, they're a poor farming couple, and they don't have any money left. So, in a very, very dark scene, the Baron insists that him and his court are gang raping the flower Jeanette as tribute.
Now, apparently, this was a real thing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, it was a real thing back in, medieval Europe, where the lords would, have sex with the wives, the new wives, which is, all sorts of messed up. But, okay. So the thing is, it's not like they're showing us Jean being, assaulted, but it's, what's the word? The visual cues. You understand
because of
what's going
Japanese
on.
censorship laws, they couldn't depict the actual genitalia, so you just see this animation of Jean look like she's getting torn in half, which is really graphic, and it looks like all these demons are just surrounding her, which is supposed to be the Baron and his courtmen. And the Baron has 3 bones sticking out of his head, giving him a demonic appearance.
And then afterwards, she runs home to her husband, and for some reason, he tries to strangle her. What?
Yeah, holy shit! Even after all that talk about how they'll start over after what just happened, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this, almost every single dude in this thing is terrible. Jesus Christ. And it doesn't get any better, because then, during that night, she starts seeing visions of a spirit, and I'm just gonna say this, there's a lot of phallic imagery in this.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much, because, literally, you see this, little, spirit, and it looks like a penis. This is probably going to be the most adult, episode we've had so far. Jesus.
And I thought Fritz the cat was going to be graphic.
Dude, Fritz the cat looks like My Little Pony compared to this.
And, yeah, and the spirit apparently offers her Jean, and she heard his cries for help. But the reason it looks so small and phallic-like is because he claims that only she can control his size. And, oh yeah, I forgot about this, where it just crawls into a cleavage and plays with the nip.
It's so random, it adds absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and majority of the films are in these water paint illustrations, which look beautiful for the most part, but
again, it's the subject matter.
Again, yeah.
So uncomfortable.
And he claims that he can help the couple. So soon, Jean he soon becomes the town's tax collector because of the demon in wish granting a wish. And the couple's fortune seems to be turned around, even as famine is striking the village, and Baron is raising the taxes sky high to fund his war effort for his crusade. But let's see. I got the movie up right now.
The Baron cuts off Jean's hand when he can't extract enough money, and Jean's like, I've already gotten everyone's money. Everyone in the village is broke, but that's not good enough for the Baron. So he cuts off Jean's hand, and then Jean turns into a miserable drunk. And then
all that alcohol loss, it's gotta make him even drunker.
Then we get another scene where Jean gets raped, because it's the spirit comes back and it's gotten bigger, and it assaults her for more riches and power, and she submits to him but says that her soul belongs to her husband and to God. But she takes out a huge loan, and she becomes a big power in the village. And everything's fine until the Baron returns from war, and his wife is super envious of Jean and calls her a witch, and manages to make all the villagers also believe she's a witch. And so she's running away from the mob. She tries to get into her house, but her husband won't let her in, and she gets assaulted. Again.
This is the third time in this movie.
Yes,
so
this is the third time. And okay, so I have to say this. I think one of the reasons, now I can't speak for Jab, but I think one of the main reasons I had such an issue with this is because, again, when it comes to sexual assault, it is such a serious subject that you need to deal with it properly, but it just almost feels like they're throwing this in here because it's something bad that can happen to a woman.
Yeah.
And it's so unsettling, and it's again how they handle it.
Yeah, and it's just constant shock value for the most part, trying to show how dark and bleak this time period is, but they went overboard with it. Plus,
yeah, it also feels like they might have just done it because they also wanted to see some boobs. They can't show, the private parts, but
no, nothing below the belt. That was Japanese censorship policy. Even today, that's why a lot of hentai has blurred genitalia.
Yeah, but we can see the boobs. So, okay, so this is when it starts getting kind of weird. I mean, it was already weird, but so it turns out that spirit that was visiting her was the devil, and I guess the devil knew her when she was younger. That part was really confusing. I don't know why the devil is so interested in her specifically.
Apparently because of her vengeance against everything that's happened to her. And I'm trying to decipher what happened to this scene. She's naked, he turns into a giant fucking penis, and she becomes a cock ring.
We're not joking, guys. The devil is so phallic shaped. It looks like a penis. We're not making this up. His head, I hate the people who made this movie.
And the legs just wrap around him, so she turns into a fucking cock ring. Jesus Christ.
And somehow she gets magical powers from this.
And she wants to be a spirit to vengeance, a witch, but to her surprise, she ended up looking even more beautiful, and we get a montage of a bunch of random references.
That was so bizarre.
Yellow submarine, what the fuck?
It was so weird because it was a lot of imagery that was super modern, and it's what does this have to do with anything? It kind of felt hey, this will look cool. Let's just throw it at the screen. It's well, okay, whatever. And then, from what I'm understanding, she returns to her village. They never give this village a name, by the way. It's just the village. And what happens is the bubonic plague is spreading. I do have to admit, watching like the scene where the plague is spreading was really cool. Like the visuals in this are really amazing. It's just a shame that this is so,
misogynistic again.
Yeah, uncomfortable. Because then, like, so she has some sort of like flower, and so first it's like I think some soldier who died. I can't remember who it is, but somebody died, and she cures him. He goes back to the village, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, he's come back from the dead!" And so they seek out Jean, and so okay, I'm just gonna say there's
they have a fucking orgy.
We're not kidding.
No, it's like I don't
the
know
visuals.
what
The visuals.
Yeah, like oh my god. I swear to God, I think I saw like a horse, couple of horses. Jesus.
Some fish, a bunch of eggs. It's like, again, I really feel like the visuals in this are amazing. It's just, I don't know.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. I want off.
Yeah,
I want off.
Yeah, we have to remember this was in the 70s, so it is very psychedelic. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just really feels like there's just so much being thrown at us. And because then, also, like, I feel like the story, we'll talk about this towards the end, but the story feels also really rushed because then we're, now this character has been in the movie. He just has never, spoken. It's a page who is like madly in love with the Baron's wife, and even though the Baron hates Jean, he's like, can you help me seduce her? I don't know why bro thought this was the answer. So Jean gives him a flower, and he pours it into the Baroness's wine or something. So he basically drugs her. That's cool. Great. Fantastic.
And as they have sex, they suddenly froze as there's a fucking knife stab through him by the Baron.
Yeah.
Who's absolutely furious.
I mean, I kind of would be too, but also, like, I'm like, what did this page think was gonna happen?
Mm-hmm. And, let's see. I'm trying to figure out what happened to Jean's husband again. Now I remember. And the Baron sends Jean to father to mean in as a trap. Jean and Sean and Jean in kind of reconcile, from the looks of it. And the Baron offers Jean a deal. Give him his kingdom to cure for the plague in exchange to make Jean the second highest noble in the land, which she refuses, insisting she wants the whole world. So, that's kind of out of left field how she wants to rule the world now.
Yeah,
the Baron orders Jean to be burned as a stake while Sean is killed by the Baron's soldiers. And as Jean is burned, apparently a rich's soul who made a pact with the devil, her soul will be reincarnated and spread to nearby survivors to be influenced by her spirit, apparently. And this is what led to the French Revolution.
Mm-hmm. So see, when she is burned, it goes to the people, and one by one their faces are replaced with hers. So I guess it was sort of like her spirit lives on through them. Again, this is like a very bizarre movie. So here's the thing. I really wanted to like this. It's a very gorgeous film.
Oh,
And
definitely. Especially with the budget they had, because I assume they didn't have much to animate everything.
yeah, I don't think they
Which is why
did.
we got those paintings.
And like the details and like even even the orgy scene, as bizarre as it was, the animation is very interesting. It's
Like
just the
season-inducing.
yeah, it's
Disturbing.
just yeah, it's just like we said, the issue is how they use you know, how they use sexual assault in the story. Like that is really the thing that kind of ruins this entire thing. And I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, are you saying that they can't have sexual assault in their story?" No, they can. It's just, again, this is something you
You
have
gotta handle it delicately.
Yeah, and they just didn't. Because I think that. Go ahead.
Like, the abstract imagery and the paintings kind of give it an art house feel, but the subject matter makes it border between an art house film and an exploitation pick. Like,
That's exactly it. It also just feels like, hey, what? Look at how terrible this is. Look at how awful this is. Do you feel bad for this character? She lives the most awful life. And it's like, we get it. Y'all can stop, please, for the love of God, stop. Just, it's too much. They keep throwing it in our face, and it's like,
yeah.
we need a break.
Yeah,
And
honestly, when I first watched this film, I had to look away at some of the scenes because of how nauseous I was getting a bit.
yeah, I had to like pause for like a second, and then I would come back. I kind of feel like I need a shower after this movie. Because I think also
this movie made me asexual.
honestly, like, I think I remember a while back when I was watching the I Love Rangoon on YouTube, one of the characters used the term masturbatory, and I've used that before, where it feels like, it kind of like, in a way, I felt like this wasn't being taken seriously, because I felt like the directors were like, oh, this is a kink, you know? And just, so I think that's why I just couldn't embrace it or enjoy it as much as I wanted to. And also, just the characters are very, very flat.
Literally, I said that that's paintings.
Yeah. And it's because, I mean, also, like, I feel like this film should have been retitled as Men Just Are Absolute Monsters, because there's not a single man in this entire thing that is noble
God
or
awful.
good. Like, yeah, even Gene, despite like getting back with his wife at the end, he's still not a good person. This was hard to, and like, honestly, I don't think I can like recommend this really. Like,
No, me neither. Like, not. I mean, while the illustrations and visuals were beautiful at times, a lot of the negatives outweigh all of it. Like
Yeah.
the misogyny, the brutality of the treatment of women, and overall the awful characters and somewhat confusing story.
like, even if, as gorgeous as it is, it's like, I still don't think the art is enough to save this. Like, we've talked about this before. It's like, where the art can be like really gorgeous, but it can't really save a story if the story is bad, or like, in this case, just filled with blatant misogyny. It's just, it makes you feel like really uncomfortable, you know? And I think the message it was trying to get to kind of just, I feel like it gets lost. You know?
Definitely.
And it's a shame, because this is a really gorgeous movie, but I really can't recommend this to anyone. And again, like I've said, if you like have an issue with like sexual assault, misogyny, and rape, do not watch this. Like, just not even as like if you're curious, don't. It's not worth it.
No, I'm giving this a 1 out of 5. Like, it tries to handle talks about about a woman's freedom, and but it just comes off as misogynic and badly handled to the point where it ends up as an anime adaptation of I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah. And again, it's a shame because it is really beautiful, but I'm with Jad. I'm going to have to give this a 1. It's just so... It's so unsettling, and it's like, again, like I said, I had to stop watching it for a while just to, like, I need to do something else for just a second, and then I bounced back into it. But yeah, it was just, ugh. Like, thankfully, what we're going to review next probably will not be as disheartening, but, like, let's move on to the news.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the news is disheartening, as we saw with Burt Young, dead at 83.
Yeah, and people are going to be like, who the heck is Burt Young? Well, he was Paulie in the Rocky films.
Yeah, and he was also in Chinatown, The Gambler, Once Upon a Time in America, and
oh, wow,
made appearances in several TV shows like Miami Vice, The Sopranos, and The Rockford Files.
So he was a real threat. Dang. Oh, he also earned an Oscar nomination for his performance in the original Rocky film. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Stallone paid tribute to his former Rocky co-star on Instagram, saying, "To my dear friend Burt Young, you were an incredible man and artist, and I and the world will miss you very much. Rest in peace." So this one is sad, but... You know, this is one of those things where it's like, it sucks that he died, but he was 83. He lived a good life.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Although these next two are very sad.
Yeah. Richard Roundtree, a.k.a. The Shaft, dies at the age of 81.
No... And like, okay, so some people's like, what the heck is Shaft? You've heard people quote it or like,
sing the song?
Yeah. It was like, hang on, let me see what it says. Okay, his career spanned 5 decades and includes his most popular blaxploitation role to a very early appeared on As the World Turns in 1956 to being a season 2 cast member on Ava DuVernay's own series Cherish the Day. So... While he was known for Shaft, he was still doing stuff. But yeah, like Shaft, I think, is probably what he's most well known for. I'm trying to figure out how do you explain Shaft.
It's like a blaxploitation crime action thriller.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I got the wiki open. He was a private detective hired by a Harlem mobster to rescue his daughter from the Italian mob.
Oh, okay. And I know it's also been like adapted into movies. Samuel L. Jackson starred in the 2019 version of the movie. And I think, Richard Roundtree was also in it, but he wasn't playing Shaft. So this is someone who's like really important to like art and pop culture, but specifically black pop culture.
Definitely.
All right, so this next one is really, really upsetting.
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah. We unfortunately have lost one of our longtime friends. Matthew Perry's friend Star was found dead Saturday in a hot tub in his Los Angeles home. He was 54.
And Matthew Perry, he's best known for his role as Chandler in his popular sitcom Friends, which was a really big show back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, like everybody watched Friends. It was like probably one of the most popular shows to ever exist. But he still like continued to work afterwards. But he's also been really open about how he struggled with addiction. Like I didn't know this, but in his memoirs, he wrote that he became an alcoholic at age 14.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he also struggled a lot with drug addiction, but he became a celebrity spokesperson for the National Association of Drug Court Professionals, and he received a Champion of Recovery Award in 2013. He also opened up Perry House, a rehab center in his former mansion in Malibu. And during the COVID pandemic, he launched an apparel line inspired by friends, and all the proceeds went to the World Health Organization to help with COVID relief. So even when, when he stopped, acting in Friends, he was still acting, but he also was a massive, activist, and, he was very present about, drug addiction because it was something he struggled with. Yeah, so this is just upsetting because I know he was very open about his struggles for a while. So it just kind of sucks to see him, I don't know if it is... Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
My sister was really obsessed with Friends. She had a real Friends face, and
yeah, you said this upset her.
She would always have me watch the DVDs with her, and I remember she was real jealous. We shattered the Friends set at that Warner Brothers backlot tour. So this one,
my heart goes out to his family and his friends and the people who knew him. We will miss him.
What really sucks about this is how it got reported with TMZ apparently bribing someone at the hospital with the news before it even went public.
What? Oh, that is bullshit. Boo.
Yeah, it's awful. The family didn't even have time to grieve as TMZ just broke the news without their permission.
Fucked up. Oh, God. Okay, we got to get off these subjects. I'm getting too sad. So now we're going on to happier news. You want to take this one?
Let's see. Live-action Gargoyles is in development at Disney+.
Jad, what is Gargoyles? Tell the people who don't know.
So, for those of you who skipped out on the 90s, Gargoyles was a bold departure for the Disney Afternoon block, which was the after-school or programming block Disney had on weekdays. And they did the unthinkable. With the success of shows like Batman the Animated Series and Ace on Kids WB and Spider-Man on Fox Kids, they decided, let's make an action cartoon. And Gargoyles was the answer. And they surprisingly did an amazing job with how far removed it was from the past shows that made up the block. They'd never tried an action cartoon or before, and they managed to pull it off with story arcs, complex character development, drama, and an amazing lore.
And I think probably the only thing close to Gargoyles that they did beforehand was Darkwing Duck, but Darkwing Duck was more
a comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
this was
superheroes.
This was a full-on action series, and it got really, really dark. So this is actually, I think, the first time they've done something with the Gargoyles franchise in a very long time. And I know people
they don't tend to do much with their TV cartoons.
I know, it's so frustrating. But if this does well, who knows? But to be honest, I'm a little I'm on the fence about this because we talked about this in I think our last episode, how the Disney Plus shows are really a mixed bag, and we also found out that what was it that Kevin Feige literally admitted that they didn't have showrunners. So yeah, this could go either way. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping it does well.
Well, there might be some hope considering the people attached to it. We have James Wan. He's best known as the co-creator of the Saw and Insidious franchise, as well as the Conjuring universe, attached as the executive producer. And for the showrunner, we got Gary Dauberman. I really hope I pronounced that right. He directed several films in the Conjuring universe, including Annabelle Creation, The Nun, Annabelle Comes Home, the reboot of... he worked as a writer on the It reboot, both parts.
Oh, wow.
And he also worked on developing the short-lived but well-acclaimed Swamp Thing for the for the short-lived DC Universe streaming service.
Interesting. Okay, this could go well. Again, fingers crossed. Okay, so I think you added this, didn't you, Jad?
Oh yeah, because I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. They finally revealed who the new voices are. Ian
Cardone?
Yep, it's a new voice of Rick, while Harry Belden voices Morty.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of these guys before.
Really, I haven't.
I haven't heard of them before, but people are like, why is this news? Well, before the latest episodes came out, they were hiding who the new voice actors were, just because the fandom for Rick and Morty has proven to be a little unruly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's saying it nicely, because I mean, we all remember what happened with the Saskatchewan sauce. And so far, people say they're doing good jobs. Like they.
Oh yeah, I've been watching the new season, and they are dead on. Like Rick kind of sounds a little bit off on his screen, but for the most part, they do a good job. And they said that the reason they chose separate actors instead of just having one guy voicing both was apparently because Rick's voice can apparently put a strain on their voice, and they thought it would be just easier for the voice actors if they each had their own voice instead.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because I know for some voice actors, they've sometimes had to step back from certain roles just because how it affects their voices, so that makes sense.
In Mel Blanc's later days, could no longer do Yosemite Sam.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, like he couldn't do it anymore without throwing out his voice.
All right, and you also added this. We're getting a second season of Invincible, guys.
And by the time we're recording, the first 2 episodes are out.
Dang.
Now,
how long have we been waiting for the second season? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's been a few years. We got that TV special with Atomic Heart in between the wait. And I'm not sure why the wait it was for so long, if it was Amazon Prime's low balling and the potential of Invincible, or just COVID in general.
Yeah, it might have been a mixture of things. But, I mean, we've also had, like, Omni-Man is showing up in Mortal Kombat and a bunch of other stuff. So, I mean, we knew they were going to make a second season. There's no reason why they wouldn't. It'd be like throwing away money. And I think this is the same studio that did the first season, because the art still looks the same.
Yeah, Studio Mo, I believe. They're like a South Korean animation studio. They worked on Legend of Korra, the She-Ra reboot, the Voltron reboot as well, and My Adventures with Superman.
Oh, so it looks like they're going to be dealing with the after effects of what happened, of Omni-Man's reveal, because it turns out Omni-Man fucking sucks. I mean, he's supposed to, but
yeah. So now Mark has to grapple with all of that, with the potential threat of more alien sources like Omni-Man potentially arriving to Earth, and trying to struggle, trying not to be like his dad, but feeling he might become him one day. And yeah, Robert Kirkman is made a smart move by just walking away from the Walking Dead series to focus on this.
Yeah, probably.
And, one thing I did not know about this until recently was this show is produced by Seth Rogen.
Really? I didn't know that either. Damn.
Yeah, Seth Rogen produced this and The Boys, and yeah, and apparently he's working on a bunch of comic book adaptations, many stuff he's really a big fan of that he wanted to get greenlit for years. Like, I remember he said he was trying to get the TV show adaptation of Preacher greenlit for years, but people turned him away because of the dark subject matter.
I bet you anything people are going to be really thankful that he's doing this, just because it's like, much as I love superhero films and TV shows, it has gotten a little stale. So it is refreshing to get a little bit of of something new.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so what is next? Oh, I know. I'm so excited for this.
You got this.
The English cast for The Boy and the Heron has been revealed. So I think we talked about this last episode. What is The Boy and the Heron? Well, it is the latest film from Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki. And this was announced a while ago. So we have Christian Bale, who also was the voice of Howl in Howl's Moving Castle. We have Drax the Destroyer himself, Dave Bautista. We have Gemma Chan, who also starred in a Marvel film. She starred in 2 Marvel films. She was in Captain Marvel Eternals, and she was also in Raya and the Last Dragon. And where I first saw her... Yes, that's where I first saw her. She is a very talented woman. I can't wait to see what she does. Then we got Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin. And I think he's done some voice work before, but I feel like most people know him as the Green Goblin, because I kind of think that's probably like some of his best work. He was also in The Lighthouse, which I still haven't seen, but everyone says he's like fantastic in that.
We got Karen Fukuhara. She was Katana in the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, and Kimiko Mashiru in The Boys.
She was also the voice of Glimmer in She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Oh, neat.
And she was Kippo and Kippo in the Age of the Wonder Beast. So she does have some voice acting experience.
And speaking of voice acting experience, we got Mark Hamill.
Woo woo. And
Sorry about that.
Now, I feel like if you've been listening to us, you probably know that Mark Hamill has been doing voice work alongside acting. Like, after being Luke Skywalker, he kind of sort of focused more on voice acting instead of, real person acting. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that he's going to be in this.
And then we got Batman, Robert Pattinson.
And I've heard him as, I think he's playing the lead character, and it sounds like he actually understood. He was like, oh, hey, I have to actually act. Like, this is also a different skill set than just acting in front of a camera. And honestly, I just want to support, like, Robert Pattinson, whatever he's doing. We haven't had, like, a really weird actor in a while, and I feel like our current weird actor is him. So I've always liked him, so I'm happy that he's still doing stuff. And then last but not least is, I hope I'm going to say her name right. Is it Florence Pugh or Pug? I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm so sorry, Florence. She was in the Black Oppenheimer, that's right, and the Black Widow movie. She was also in Don't Worry. Oh yeah, that's right. She was in Don't Worry, Darling, The Wonder, but she does have some voice acting experience. She was in Puss in Boots, The Last Wish as Goldilocks. And I thought she was good as Goldilocks. So I'm excited for this. I love Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, like, I've been waiting for another Hayao Miyazaki movie for literal years, because I think the last one was, let me check. But also, like, we talked about this.
The name, but it was about the guy who invented planes for the Japanese military during World War II.
That was a long time ago, but also, like, this man is never retiring. He's gonna keep working until he dies. Because, like, it was the 5th or 4th time he's like, hey, I'm retiring. It's like, no, you're not. You're just not. Because this is, like, he's done this so many times. Oh, you're gonna be excited about this, Jad. I think you're the one who added this.
New season of Aquachin Hunger Force premieres November 26th.
Whoop, whoop. So this is going to be... What
5
season
episodes.
is this?
Oh, let me double check. I know they did over a dozen in seasons of the years, and it's going to be season 12.
Oh my goodness. That's actually pretty amazing. I feel like guys don't understand this. And a lot of shows do not get to 2 digits in like seasons. It's kind of rare.
Yeah,
I really like
this. Sorry.
I really like the picture because see, it's got Frylock and Meatwad are super buff looking, but Master Shake has got rolls. I just think it's funny they gave a Shake rolls, and then in the back you see Carl with a really long beard. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. I kind of can't wait to see these characters again.
Yeah, same here. Like, it's been a while since we had anything Aqua Team related.
Oh yeah, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, and it says a lot since it used to be Adult Swim's flagship show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think I added this. Tara Strong.
Yeah.
Removed from animated series Boxtown after controversial Israel-Palestine tweet. So this was like blowing up Twitter for what? Like about a week or so, I think?
Mm-hmm. Well, Tara Strong was just revealing herself to be a terrible person over the Israel-Palestine conflict.
She just kept making it worse. Everyone's like, Tara, shut up. And it just... And see, people are like, well, why does this matter? Well, like, here's the thing. Tara Strong has a huge history in voice acting. She has been in the new Batman Adventures, Teen Titans Go, Rugrats, The Powerpuff Girls, Fairly Odd Parents, The Proud Family, Shaolin Showdown, Ben 10, Chowder, Wow Wow Wubsy, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Unikitty, and DC Superhero Girls. And that's just television.
Yeah, she has a really long history in voice acting.
Mm-hmm. She's like, she sort of voiced like our childhoods. But it turns out she sucks.
Yeah, she even allegedly liked a tweet that said, and I quote, "Islam is a real, clear, and present danger," which is really fucked up.
Yeah,
so with that, Boxtown announced they were gonna recast her. And Strong didn't take the news so well, as she claims it was because she's Jewish.
Which is not true, because Alex Hirsch, who is known for creating Gravity Falls, is also working on the show. I think he's voicing one of the other characters. He's Jewish.
He's Jewish, yeah.
Yeah, so this was more just her sticking her foot in her mouth, and instead of graciously backing away or saying I made a mistake, she continued to make things worse.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
Oh yeah, because she was the voice of Timmy Turner. She's the voice of Raven. It's just so upsetting to see her act this way. And it's yeah, she can have her own opinion, but it's when people are saying, hey, your opinion is wrong and harmful, maybe listen to them. I don't know. But yeah, she's lost the job. Okay.
Yeah. So, let's see.
Oh, I added this one.
Oh, yeah. The Boy Who Lived, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to call it.
Yeah. So, this focuses on a man named David Holmes, who was a stuntman on the Deathly Hallows Part 1, but an explosion that was part of a planned stunt sent him falling, leaving him paralyzed from the chest down with a debilitating spine injury. And Daniel Radcliffe is the executive producer on this documentary, following his life and everything that happened ever since the incident.
So the reason I wanted to add this is because the thing about Daniel Radcliffe is, I'm not sure how, but he kind of avoided the curse of having one role define his career, because even though for a lot of people there's only going to be one Harry Potter, he has consistently continued to act, but also use his Harry
Potter royalties to
yes,
try to do humanitarian work and effort.
He has been very vocal of his support for LGBT youth. He supports the Trevor Project. And he's also been very open about speaking out against J.K. Rowling for her transphobia. So it's just like, I don't know. For some reason, Daniel Radcliffe has managed to stay relatively humble, despite the fact that, he was freaking Harry Potter. Like, a lot of people would have let that just totally get to their head, but he's remained a very humble person. And from what I understand, he sort of acts like he's just he's like, yeah, I'm famous, but I'm just a normal guy. He knows he has a lot of fame and fortune, and he is thankful for that, but he just doesn't let it get to him. So, I just that's just one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it, just because I really, really appreciate that, because it's kind of sort of rare.
Yeah, he always seemed like a good person, even after everything that happened with Rowling.
Oh, yeah. And he also,
Emma Watson.
Oh, yeah, Emma Watson, yeah. He also just continued to act like he didn't let this one, role, he's like, yeah, this role might define me, but I'm still gonna work. And I think that's really cool of him, because some people would have maybe gotten I don't need to do anything else. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out. Ooh, and you added this. I always love it when Jad adds stuff about rides and everything. We have gotten first look photos of Disney's Haunted Mansion bar that expands the ride's story and revives Donald Duck's chair.
To be specific.
Oh, this is so exciting. I didn't know about that they were making a bar.
Instead of the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge, we're instead getting a Haunted Mansion themed lounge.
That might be the better idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks so cool.
Concept art and artist rendering. It looks very eerie and gothic, like the ride. Only it's on a ship, and instead of the screen being a window looking out in space, it looks like a mirror with hitchhiking ghosts.
Ooh. They have a picture of some of the drinks they might offer. Those look so good. It's going to offer exclusive merch. And I've noticed in the past year that Disney has been leaning more into the Haunted Mansion, which I think is a smart idea.
Yeah, it's one of the most popular rides in the parks.
And it's also one of the undeniably creepy things they have, Because when it comes to Disney, you don't think of creepy, you think of cutesy,
Yeah, one of the drinks is a spiked ube boba tea topped with an eye gummy.
Ooh, I love boba tea.
And a smoked peppery take on a margarita, and it looks pitch black.
Ooh. That is so cool. We're going to have to go and try this. I'm not a big drinker, but these drinks I want to try. I'm so excited for this. And is this going to be in the new cruise ship?
Disney Treasure? Yeah, the one that's going to have its maiden voyage next year.
I'm so excited. I really want to go. Oh, I'm also excited about this. This I'm really excited about.
Oh, yeah, I added this as well because I couldn't resist. Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, launching at the American Film Festival from Warner Bros. Animation and GFM Animation.
Finally!
So, for those who don't know, I am a big Looney Tunes fanatic, and originally during the when HBO Max was greenlighting a bunch of animated projects and just as quickly canceled them once the Discovery merger went through. One of the made-for-streaming movies they were gonna launch was The Day the Earth Blew Up, starring Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. It's gonna be hand-drawn with a comedic take on sci-fi B movies, but then Zaslav happened and they began to just workshop the film around to other distributors or streaming services. But then, GFM Animation, which seems to be a British film investment trust, they're working alongside Warner Bros. Animation to try to get a distributor to get this released theatrically. And it's written by Pete Brown-God, who's the creator and voice of Uncle Grandpa and the showrunner for the Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max.
Okay.
And Eric Balsa is going to be reprising his voice as Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, respectively.
I'm also looking at Peter Braungart's work. He has not... Okay, so he did create Uncle Grandpa, but he's worked on Futurama, Venture Brothers, Chowder, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, Adventure Time, Clarence, Steven Universe, The Amazing World of Gumball, SpongeBob SquarePants, and OK, Let's Be Heroes. So this is a guy who has a lot of experience. So, yeah, like, see, I'm also with Jad that I love the Looney Tunes. I grew up with the Looney Tunes. It's just they haven't done much with them recently, but it seems like they're starting to use them more, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Warner Brothers has a large animation library that can rival Disney, in my opinion. They just don't do much with them outside of DC.
Mm-hmm. They're starting to dip into that well more, which I'm thankful for.
Same here.
Yay!
Like,
I'm excited about this.
It's like the Warner Brothers flagship animated characters.
Yeah. And, Bugs Bunny has to be one of the most iconic cartoon characters to ever exist. I mean, a lot of characters take inspiration from him.
Oh, definitely. He's possibly one of the greatest cartoon characters ever made.
Mm-hmm. Somebody made a joke that Bugs Bunny could defeat Thanos, and I'm like, yeah, he could.
Mm-hmm. And
all right,
you're excited about this.
Yes. All right, so, I mean, if you guys have been listening, you guys know I really love horror video games. And while I am older, I like the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. I love animatronics. I finally got to see this as a late birthday gift, but the Five Nights at Freddy movies rides PG-13 rating video box game fame to Halloween box office crown. It had grossed a surprising $78 million in its domestic opening during the weekend. Now, a lot of people oh, why is that a big deal? Well, a lot of PG-13 horror doesn't normally do that well. But also, I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's is really sort of a online thing in a way. Because my mom and dad were like, what the heck is Five Nights at Freddy's? They have no idea. They don't play video games. They don't go onto YouTube. But see, the thing is I think the reason Five Nights at Freddy's got so popular was also thanks to Let's Players like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and stuff. So a lot of younger kids are really into this. So it's a lot of there were some people's oh, why wasn't this bloodier? I'm like, this is supposed to also be for kids, teenagers.
Yeah, the
when
director
I went,
herself even sorry.
You go ahead.
The director herself even said her plan was to make Five Nights at Freddy's the gateway horror film for kids, which is why they stuck with the PG-13 rating.
And here's the thing. It still worked. There were still some really good jump scares. And also, the idea of humongous animatronics moving on their own, that's scary. Come on. And the animatronics looked just like how they do in the game. The Jim Henson Creature Shop did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and I just can't wait to see what they're doing for the sequel. And it was another thing that makes the success in the box office surprising was it was also released the same day on Peacock, Universal streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
but I think this is
that spells gloom and doom for a movie.
Yeah, but I think again the thing is Five Nights at Freddy's is probably one of the most successful indie horror games to ever exist because it came out I think in the early 2000s. It's still going. The Five Nights Security Breach was released I think last year.
Yeah, and it got DLC.
Yeah, and it got DLC this year. And even though Security Breach had a lot of problems with its narrative and also it was really buggy, it still did pretty good. So it's this is something this is not going to go away anytime soon. Also, I just want to say something. Matthew Lillard was fantastic in his role as Howard Ashton. Wait, is it Howard Ashton? I can't remember the guy's first name, but he's the big main baddie. Oh, this game has been out for years, Jad. If you don't know the plot by now, come on. So yeah, if you don't want to support Scott Cawthorn, the guy who makes the games, you can just pirate it. I do recommend it if you're like a fan of the game series. I'm going to talk about it later, but yeah. So
I was
this one
surprised by this film.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of us were because it could have gone so many ways, but I'll talk about that later. I'm not happy about this news.
Yeah. Disney to buy Comcast stake in Hulu, gaining full control of the streaming service.
No. No.
For those of you who okay, let's see, clip notes first. And basically, Hulu was started as a partnership between the Big Five in Hollywood to try to appeal to the internet crowd, as online viewing was starting to rise in popularity, especially with Netflix turning into a streaming service. And eventually, some companies decided to break off and instead make deals with Netflix. So they sold a stake to Fox originally, who were originally the biggest is the owner in Hulu. And then the Disney Fox merger in 2019 gave basically Disney a 67% stake. 67% stake in Hulu, with Comcast owning the remaining 33%. But now Comcast has their own streaming service, Peacock, that they're desperately trying to make a hit. So Disney has been negotiating and get to acquire their remaining stake, and it seems like they reached the deal at $8.6 billion.
I don't want Disney to own more stuff.
No, they've been running Hulu for the past 4 years now.
And
a
lot
they
of
just have full control.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying this is probably going to make the price of Hulu go up.
It already has gone up. Like the premium version went up to over $10.
Oh God. It's like, I keep saying this, is like, if they keep making these so freaking expensive, people are not going to pay for them. This is not something you need, it's a want. You know?
I recently switched to the ad version of Disney Plus because they raised the price of premium.
Mm-hmm. I also, like, on Netflix, I had to change from, like, the super premium to, like, lesser. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, they can't keep doing this. Like, everyone's saying the streaming bubble is going to pop. It is going to pop sooner or later.
Definitely. Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But
okay.
We're not done with the mergers. I think
you added this too. Cedar Fair and Six Flags will merge to create a playtime powerhouse in North America. So this is, I think, mostly an American thing. I don't think Cedar Fair and Six Flags are in other... Well, I think they might have some theme parks
Canada and
in
Mexico
other countries.
as well.
Okay. So it's mainly here in North America. So they are merging to create an expansive amusement park operator with operations spread across the 17 U.S. states and 3 countries. Now, I'm not really sure how to feel about this.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because Cedar Fair and Six Flags, not as big as Disney Universes, but they offer some fun thrill rides. And remember I think it was Cedar Point in Ohio, where they got a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Used to have a rivalry with Six Flags Magic Mountain in California, where they were neck and neck for which its theme park had the world record for most roller coasters in a park. Because they tend to focus more on thrill rides than rather than immersive experiences. And
yeah, it says I think like.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
And apparently, after they really struggled like a lot of theme parks since the pandemic, and even after a lot of the shutdowns stopped, they were still struggling to get people to come back.
Yeah, it's not like with Disney, everyone knows Disneyland and their other parks. if you're not Disneyland, you're kind of struggling. And the thing is again, it's one of those things. It's a need, not a want. It's a want, not a need. It's not like you need food. You need a house over your head. You need clothing, stuff like that. But you don't need to go to an amusement park. So it's kind of not surprising that the amusement park industry has been sort of struggling. Like, even despite Disney being the most popular theme park, it's also having some problems.
Yeah.
All right.
And let's see, what's next? Okay. I added this as well. Speaking of streaming, Marvel's Echo is set to be the first Disney Plus original to receive a TVMA rating.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and Echo, she's a character who appeared in, let's see, let me look up more about a character. I could have sworn I looked up more about her before doing this. She was, in the comics, she was a supporting character in the Daredevil series, and the adopted daughter of the Kingpin, who's a big baddie. He was like the crime lord of New York. And she appeared in Hawkeye as a deaf assassin who worked directly for the Kingpin. And it seems like she's getting her own spin-off series, Echo. And
it actually looks good.
Yeah, and this one's gonna look more grounded and gritty compared to the other Marvel shows they've been making for Disney Plus. It's they're even gonna have appearances by Daredevil as well, and they're showing the backstory of her as a deaf kid. They're trying to communicate with an ice cream vendor who just mocks her of her sign language, and then Kingpin reacts by just beating him to death with his bare hands.
Kingpin did nothing wrong in that situation.
Yeah, you can actually see the blood on his knuckles. I'm looking at some of the scenes and they look pretty gritty.
Yeah, this is also going to be a return of Vincent D'Onofrio as a Kingpin, which everyone kind of agrees is was one of the best parts of the Daredevil show. So I'm actually looking forward to this. And it does look a lot more grounded and looks a lot more realistic, which would be a nice change of pace,
Yeah, they say the tone they're going for is more akin to the Netflix Daredevil series.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now you added this. I had no idea about this. We're apparently getting another Planet of the Apes movie. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, this was picked up by Disney after the Fox merger. They want to continue the reboot series that focused on Caesar, but Caesar's dead, so now they're focusing on the far future where apes now rule the planet and humans are live in smaller numbers and they're not almost animalistic now.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah, and let's see.
I will say these special effects are really impressive. The way they make the apes look, they actually look really cool.
Yeah, by the third movie, they began to learn, you know what? A lot of these human characters we do suck. Let's just focus on the apes, and I'm so glad they did.
Again, though, I just don't know how to really feel about this, because I think it's just, I feel like this really shouldn't have been such a massive franchise. I feel like we should have just ended at the original movies. Because, see, I
never saw the Caesar trilogy they did?
No. Because they had the original movies, and then didn't Tim Burton do some movies?
Yeah, he tried to do a reboot that flopped. And then they decided to do another reboot, which is like a prequel trilogy.
To be honest, I'm surprised it's doing so well.
Yeah, apparently Disney wants to make it into a franchise now. That
no. That's such a, like, it used to be like, oh, Disney wants to make this a franchise. That's great. But now it's like, no! Look what they did to Marvel and Star Wars.
Well, I wouldn't mind something Planet of the Apes related to Animal Kingdom.
That actually would be really cool.
Yeah.
So I think we're both happy about this, right?
Oh,
I still need to watch these new episodes.
Futurama renewed for 2 more seasons on Hulu.
Woo!
So Futurama was created by Matt Groening, best known as the creator of The Simpsons, and it lasted a couple of seasons on Fox before they got put the plug because it kept changing when it aired. They even got they even changed it to different days of the week. Then after making a bunch of direct-to-DVD movies, it got picked up by Comedy Central for a few seasons, but because of budget issues, they canceled it as well. And then when Disney bought up Fox, they decided to revive Futurama as a Hulu original. And apparently it's been doing really great on Hulu that they decided to renew it for 2 more seasons.
I'm not surprised. Everybody loves Futurama.
Yeah, like apparently it's doing great in terms of viewership on Hulu. Like it was when the season premiere was the most watched streaming show.
Again, not surprised. I love Futurama. It's such a good show.
And
I need to watch the new episodes.
Yeah,
I need to watch the new episodes. I haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Yeah, they look at they do a bunch of episodes making fun of binge watching, the metaverse. There's even an episode where Sap Brannigan gets canceled.
I cannot wait to watch.
And season 12 is coming next year.
Woohoo!
And I just added these 2 this morning.
Okay, Nintendo and Sony teaming up to make live-action Legend of Zelda movie.
Yeah, Sony Pictures is co-financing this film with Nintendo. Wes Ball is directing it, and I'm trying to remember what else he directed. And Shigeru Miyamoto is heavily attached to this as an executive producer, of course. And Wes Ball is the guy directing that fourth installment of the Planet of the Apes reboot series.
Oh, okay.
But this is the name that has me concerned. Avi Arad as the executive producer.
Why does that have you worried?
Well, just his handling of the Spider-Man and films back when he worked at Sony, particularly how he handled the Sam Raimi trilogy. Like with Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi, he didn't even want Venom to be in the film and opted for instead the Vulture and Sandman teaming up. But Avi Arad insisted they had to use a newer character, and as well as symbiote. So if you're wondering why Spider-Man 3 felt like they were just cramming in a bunch of shit into one film, that's why.
That's what happens sometimes. Like, you can sometimes tell when something's like a studio mandate, and you could tell that like a lot of stuff in Spider-Man 3 was a studio mandate.
Yeah, and he even tried to get Spider-Man out of the didn't even want Spider-Man to be in the MCU, and because he was under the crazy impression that he had control over Spider-Man just because he produced the films for Sony.
Wait, is that the reason it took so long for Spider-Man to be in the MCU?
Yep. Not just that, but because Sony held the film rights to the character for so long. And it's not after the attempt to reboot them with the Amazing Spider-Man flop that they finally managed to reach an agreement with Disney and Marvel Studios to co-produce a trilogy of MCU films with him. Which is why Sony... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those things like we'll have to wait and see. Just because, I mean, in the past few years, I feel like video game movies have gotten much better. like we've had the Mario movie, Detective Pikachu, Five Nights at Freddy's, which is recent. So, I mean, I really feel we're going to have to wait until we get a little closer when, like, we start seeing concept art and stuff. But, I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah, Zelda is Miyamoto's baby, and he's very, very protective of that franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every time, like, they needed his approval for everything they did for the Mario movie with Illumination, so I can imagine he'd have a final say in everything with the Zelda movie at Sony.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about this just because I love this game and I love this franchise. Dead by Daylight is adding Chucky.
Yeah, he's going to be the shortest killer in the roster.
That's so cool, though. I love Chucky. Now, if you guys have never played Dead by Daylight, what it is you have 4 survivors and a killer. Now, Dead by Daylight has managed to get a bunch of licensing for popular villains from horror movies, but also horror games. Like, they have a bunch of Resident Evil characters. They have Wesker, Leon, Ada Wong.
Even managed to get Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm. They have
from Silent Hill.
Yep, they have Saw. Halloween. Yeah, they got Saw, the pig lady from Saw. They have
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep. So Chucky getting added is not a surprise, but this is exciting. And I can't wait to see what he does because, all the killers have, like, a specific way of killing the victims, but see, what they're doing is they're, like, sacrificing them to something called the entity. So it's going to be really cool to see how Chucky does that.
As a sacrifice.
Yeah, so I'm going to be interested to see how Chucky's going to do this because that hook is really high.
Yeah,
so
because apparently Chucky, because of his size, he'll be able to sneak around and hide easier to stalk the survivors. And apparently he can summon an apparition of his human self to assist him.
Ooh, that is so cool.
Also the voodoo. So... yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I gotta get back into Dead by Daylight sometime.
Okay, we are finally at recommendations. Now, Jad, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Okay, how about you go first?
All right, so I already talked about it, but I'm going to recommend the Five Nights at Freddy's film. However, if you do not want to give money to Scott Cawthorn because he donated to Trump, that is understandable. You can, find it somewhere online. And if you are a fan of the franchise, I highly recommend you see it because they did a really good job of taking the game and adapting it. So, like, if you've never played the games are not really lore heavy. The lore was sort of more revealed, like, through books and other stuff. But, like, I think with the movie, they did a good job of just giving us the basics. Like, it was weird because, like, the critics are like, there's too much plot. I'm like... what do you mean there's too much plot? Do you think we wanted it to just be about a security guard sitting in a room looking at cameras? That would have been boring.
Yeah.
And again, like...
what kind of movie would that be?
That wouldn't be a movie. It'd be boring as heck. And again, I just really want... the animatronics look so perfect. Not just, like... and how they look, but their movements and everything, it's done so well. Josh Hutcherson did a really great job, and like I mentioned, Matthew Lillard. Hang on, I need to see the name of this little girl. She plays a character called Abby, and
it's like Mike Smith's younger sister.
Yeah, the main character is in. He has custody of his young sister. His parents have passed away. What's her name? Piper Rubio. She did really, really good. I think she's going to be a star.
Like, there were some really touching and cute scenes in this, which is something I would not expect to say about a horror film.
I know, like, it's really surprising. But also, I think the thing is this movie has been in production hell for an extremely long time. I was actually like, we're never going to get this movie. Like, for a while, I was like, we're not going to get it.
Yeah, we got 2 knockouts before this finally came out.
Yeah, because there was just, I guess, so many issues with, I don't know. I just guess there was problems maybe with the script or the director, but here it is, and I think it's everything a Five Nights at Freddy movie needs to be. and I'm looking forward to more. I think the director did a fantastic job. Now, again, like I said, I love me some horror video games, and this was a game I've been wanting to play for a while. It's called Needy Streamer Overload. I know the name is weird, but bear with me. So you're playing as the partner of a girl named Ami-chan. And I mean, I guess you could say this is kind of horror related. It's got a little bit, it's like a psychological horror. She calls you P-chan, like, because you're her producer. And she's wanting to become a streamer. And it's like, she obviously has some sort of like mental issues. And I was really surprised at how interesting and how also difficult the game is, because it's a lot of trying to make sure she stays happy enough and she's not too stressed out, so you can have her stream. But also, like, depending on what she streams, it can affect her mentally. It can affect your relationship and everything. And again, I was just really surprised at how well this game sort of represented internet culture and toxic relationships, and how it feels really realistic at sometimes. I will admit, like, if you suffer like with suicidal thoughts and self-harm, maybe don't play this. But I do think it does a really good job of showing how, you know, it's sometimes a struggle to constantly be creating. And I was also just surprised because there was one ending I got where I had a really high relationship with her. She overdoses on love.
Oh,
I was like,
oh my God.
Yes, I was like, what the heck just happened? And I got an achievement. I'm like, she overdosed on love? Okay, so I do recommend it. But again, if you cannot handle self-harm or suicidal thoughts, maybe skip this one. Your turn, Jad.
Okay, and my first recommendation is Little Shop of Horrors.
Little shop of horrors, little shop.
Yeah,
little
now,
shop of terrors.
Little Shop of Horrors started out as a black and white B-movie by Roger Corman and was adapted into an off-Broadway musical by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. And now these two, they would go on to help play a hand in the Disney Renaissance, making songs and contributing to the story for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
And in the late 80s, it was also adapted into a film by Frank Oz. Who is Frank Oz, you ask? Rooty, you know the answer.
Kermie!
Yep,
he was the original voice of Miss Piggy.
And Fozzie Bear and so many others in many Muppets and Sesame Street productions. And this was the first non-Muppet project he was attached to, or that he directed. And it was amazing. And I believe it's streaming on Max right now. Hopefully they didn't take it off after Halloween ended. But yeah, I actually love this movie. It's one of my favorite musicals.
Oh,
one of my
same.
favorite non-Disney musicals. And it helped launch the careers of Megan and Ashman, two legends.
It also stars like a really great cast. You have Rick Moranis in the lead. And Steve Martin also shows up. I remember the first time I watched it, I had to I was squinting. I'm like, is that Steve Martin? Yes, it is. And it's a dark comedy. It's a horror comedy, and it's really well. I will say, if you are used to the musical, the movie has a completely different ending.
Yeah.
I've seen both the movie and the stage play. I like both, but again, you might be a little shocked, but the movie's ending is completely different.
Yeah. You can blame the focus groups for that.
Yeah, because they did not like the original ending.
And my second recommendation, you can thank Rooty for this. The Amazing Digital Circus.
This happens a lot. We'll like recommend something, and then in the next episode, we'll recommend what the other person has recommended.
Yeah. So the Amazing Digital Circus is is a pilot for potential independent computer animated series. It
Fingers
focuses
crossed.
on these groups of characters who look like characters in a TV show hosted by the ringleader who does a chief with eyes. And
That's it. That's literally what he is. He has a top hat and a body, but his face is just teeth.
yeah, and it focuses on, but then this character Pomni pops in who is confused about where she is, what's going on, and why she can't remember anything that happened. And it turns out all these characters, they were actually used to be real people who got dragged into this digital world by Kane, the ringmaster. And apparently all these people were here for a long time. Their reaction to Pomni is, don't worry, she'll get used to it when she realizes there's no way out.
Yeah, she keeps on saying, it's a dream. This is a dream. But I don't think it's a dream.
No. Like, it does a perfect job. Like, the dark comedy and horror elements. And greatly contrasts with the colorful, bright cheeriness and cartooniness of the surrounding area, which is a great juxtaposition. I hope I pronounced that right.
Juxtaposition. It is a very hard word to say.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this pilot. I hope it becomes a full series, and if it does, I am looking forward to where they go next and what mysteries is behind the digital circus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to become a series, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, thankfully next week's episode is going to be much more lighthearted. It's going to be this is like considered one of the best animated films ever. It's called Son of the White Mare. And I'm really looking forward to watching this and not having to deal with bouts of misogyny.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you for listening. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.